it is what it is, I guess. I guess it's just not meant for me to get into hot toys. I guess hot toys just aren't for me, guys. I'll be honest. It's just seeming more and more like hot toys just isn't for me. What have I done? What have I done?
What have I done?
Welcome back to the CoolFigurez channel. I'm your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector. The information on the channel is intended for adult collectors and not children. And welcome to episode 39 of Coffee and Toys here on the CoolFigurez channel. Before we get into anything, guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every single one of you. We have finally hit 900 subscribers here, and I couldn't be more thankful. But with that being said, guys, we are going to talk about this week's Coffee and Toys Live, future guests for Coffee and Toys Live, this week's toy haul, this week's toy news, and so much more. But first, if you're new, then welcome. This channel is all about cool action figures, analyzing them, hunting them, taking pics of them, and of course, playing with them. If that's your sort of thing, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button? And while you're at it, why don't you go ahead and hit that bell notification icon so you stay notified when I do upload new content. If you do enjoy this video or any other videos that I put out, please remember to give them a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. With all of that out of the way, guys, once again, welcome to episode 39 of Coffee and Toys, guys. Man, we are one episode away from 40. That is crazy to think about. But what's even crazier to think about, guys, is that 900 of you have hit that subscribe button, and I couldn't be more grateful and more thankful for each and every single one of you guys. When I first started this journey, I think I say this every time I hit a good milestone in my following, I didn't think anybody would be interested in what I had to say about toys, so I really do appreciate it because, I was happy when I had 12 subscribers, let alone 900, well, over 900 at this point. So that is amazing, guys, because if it wasn't for you guys, I'd just be a grown man talking to myself about toys in my garage, in my room. So I really do appreciate each and every single one of you that take time out of your busy day to watch a video, to like a video, to comment on a video, that have taken time to subscribe, that have taken time to check out my Instagram as well, CoolFigurez, as well as my alternative, more directed toy photography page, Epic Shots by CoolFigurez. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you guys. It is just an amazing feeling to know that, I went from, absolutely no audience in mind. I was like, no one's going to want to listen to me talk about toys, to 900 of you guys hitting that subscribe button, commenting, and liking my videos. So once again, guys, thank you so much. That means the world to me. So I guess the next one is 1,000 followers, right, guys? So what do you guys say? You think we could hit it by the end of June, if not July? If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it, guys. So thank you once again, and with that being said, let's go ahead and start this week's episode, guys, because we're obviously going to talk some Coffee and Toys Live. I had a great interview this week with a UK toy photographer. Parts may vary, and I think that's what's one of the most amazing parts about this community and this hobby, is that we have the potential to connect with people from around the world that love franchises that we love just as much as we love them. We're not just limited to the collectors in our community that we are in physically now. Our community can span literally worldwide, which is phenomenal and amazing. And I just think that's some of the coolest things about toy photography and toy collecting in general. So I had a great conversation with Parts May Vary. He puts out some great toy photography, so if you haven't already, definitely go ahead and check him out over on Instagram at Parts May Vary. Once again, he is a UK toy photographer, so it is a little harder for him to get certain toys because of distribution and how they do toy sales in their country. They're not at their local Walmarts and Targets, apparently. So if you want to know more about all that, stay tuned to the end of this episode for that interview from Wednesday's Coffee and Toys Live. So definitely check that out. Next week, I will be speaking with Nerdzoic. I was supposed to speak with him about 2 months ago now. However, stuff happened and he was not available at the time. Totally understandable, but our rescheduled date is this coming Wednesday, so super excited to talk to him. Not only is he a YouTuber, but he is also a toy store owner, so definitely head over to nerdzoic.com, check him out, and support small business, guys. So after him, I will be speaking with another great toy photographer, Papa Palpatine. Super excited to talk to him. He's definitely been one of those toy photographers that I've watched and looked up to since I got into this hobby and stuff. So definitely excited to speak with him. I am also speaking to other guests, currently lining them up, getting them situated for certain dates. So as soon as all of that is concrete and I know, where everybody's going to be at, I will definitely let you guys know here on Coffee and Toys. So yeah, super excited to talk to both of those people and all the new guests that I am in talks with to come on the show eventually. I have some exciting stuff to mix things up. I feel like, in the toy community, it gets a little repetitive. We all like the same franchises and stuff, which is great. Don't get me wrong, that's fucking phenomenal. It gives us something to connect with that we've all grown up with and loved for so long. But I feel like there's not too much diversity in the toy collecting community, and that's nothing to do wrong with the toy collecting community. It's just something that goes with the hobby, like other things, like kind of like liking cars. It's more male dominant than female dominant, and so I have some stuff to mix things up, make things interesting and exciting for you guys coming up very soon. So stay tuned for that, coming up on Coffee and Toys Live very, very soon. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and move on into this week's toy haul? And oh man, guys, I know you guys can obviously see, but can you fucking see what I've done?
What have I done?
And you guys saw my review of my first hot toy, right? I mean, how many of you would have guessed that this would have been on my table the following week after that dropped? And it's funny because I'm still getting a lot of comments on that video, and I wonder if I'm still going to get a lot of comments on it after this week, because if I do, I'm just going to be like, go watch episode 39 of Coffee and Toys, and they'll see that my mind has definitely changed significantly. But that is mainly because I got some fucking fantastic deals for these figures on this table. Once again, much like with my Mezcos, I hit up OfferUp, and there was this one guy that was trying to get some cash to get his sister a car for college, and so he was selling his hot toys, and I had to ask him because he had some good deals. He wanted $475 for him. He wanted he wanted $225 for him, he wanted $275, $240, $225, $225, and $275 for him. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, so I asked him about this guy, and I was like, "Is $275 your absolute best? You sure you can't do $230?" And he's like, I can't. I just bought him like a week and a half ago. He's firm $275. I was like, okay. Now this is the deluxe Mando. However, he is missing the Grogu pod, the rock base that the pod plugs into, and he was missing the majority of the Beskar pieces in the Beskar container. However, I did manage to find one seller selling them pieced out on eBay, and I jumped on it, and that way I have a complete Beskar set with this guy. So I did pay an extra $25 for the Beskar, but I mean, for this figure, yeah, it just completes him. So other than that, he's really not missing anything. He's just missing Grogu, and he was missing those Beskar pieces. Other than that, he wasn't missing anything. And I asked him, what's the best you can do on him? I was like, can you do 200? And he was like, no, he really was like 220 is the best. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And this motherfucker, and I mean this in the most respectful and best way, this motherfucker messaged me back. He's like, if you take both of them, I'll do them for 450. And I was like, fucking A, 450. That's literally like 200 a piece, or 212 a piece about, So I was like, you know what? I looked him up quickly on eBay. This guy was going for this. And obviously the deluxe retails for 3 something, but on eBay it's going for this. And so I was like, you know what? I really wasn't looking to spend that much cash that day. But if I ever did want to pick up both of these figures, or even if I just picked up one of them from him, it just made sense to pick them both up. And so I went ahead and pulled the trigger and picked up both Mando and the Sideshow 6 scale Mythos Boba Fett. And I have to admit, guys, out of all of them here on the table, this one has to be my fucking favorite. The detail, the amount of stuff on him. This is what I was expecting from that hot toy when I first pulled it out. And I was significantly, let down by that. And I've always heard that, sideshows aren't better than hot toys, and they actually are like less quality and everything. But this Mythos Boba Fett, guys, it's a fucking piece of art. I mean, all of these things are here, including that Death Watch Mando, but this one in particular just has so much detail. The Wookiee hairs, the lightsabers, the soft goods with the wires, and just his overall armor, and then on top of it, the weathering, and just it's a fucking piece of art, guys. I catch myself staring at it constantly. It's just such a beautiful piece. But so is this Mando. Don't get me wrong, so is this Mando. I fucking love this Mando as well. Now, I know normally, guys, when I'm talking about certain items in the week's toy haul, I'll hold them up for you guys. However, these are larger pieces, and I am not going to risk accidentally dropping them, as you guys have seen me do many a times here on the podcast. So if anything, I'll probably just zoom in, while they're sitting here on the table. I'll probably rotate them. So, while I'm talking about Boba Fett, I did talk about the lightsabers in the back, but you know what? I need to free him from Kenobi's lightsaber right there. He does have 3 random lightsaber hilts right here from 3 Jedi that he has killed. Super cool. And then also just this blaster that he's holding. Obviously, it's not his normal blaster. It's actually a Stormtrooper heavy rifle, just with some soft goods wrapped around it. It's super cool. This actually detaches and allows you to set it down. So if you want to, mount it on something. He does come with this regular blaster as well. But I just thought this looked way better. I mean, it could have been just slung around his back as well, and he could be just holding his regular blaster, but I think he looks really badass with this one in particular. So yeah, this one is definitely my favorite. It's just such a beautiful piece, guys. I cannot believe I have it. This thing is such a beautiful piece that when I went to pick up the other pieces from the guy, he was even telling me that he was contemplating asking me if I was willing to give it back to him or trade him for a higher value hot toy. He had the Darth Maul hot toy with the cycle, the speeder that he rides in Phantom Menace, and he was like, I was thinking of offering you that to get the Mythos Boba Fett back. And I was like, honestly, bro, I wouldn't have taken it. Like, I just fucking love this piece. Like I said, I catch myself walking up to it and just staring at it and just being like, wow, this is a premium figure. Man, I fucking love it. So yeah, with that being said, why don't I go ahead and talk a little bit about Mando over here, because as much as I love this Boba Fett, Mando here is also a fucking phenomenal figure. Definitely better experience with this guy than it was with the Death Watch right behind me. So just to clarify, this, and this are all Sideshow 1/6 pieces. This is a hot toy. The Mando Death Watch is a hot toy as well, and we all know my opening experience with that one. However, with this one, I was able to leave the fat suit on, and as you can see, his arm does articulate up. And I've been getting many comments on that video like, oh, you fucked up, you just don't know what you're doing. I have plenty of Hot Toys, they move and stuff. And that's cool, like, that's fine, but you do realize that there's something called QC issues, right? And I truly believe that mine just suffers from a QC issue in that the stitching on the right shoulder of the fat suit was a little too tight. That's simply all it was. And once I removed the fat suit, I was able to articulate it very easily. It articulates very well now. And if anything, I could probably put the fat suit on, and Jason Yang from Work More or Less suggested just cutting the fat suit where the joint is, so that way I can still have the fat suit on, but the freedom to move and stuff. And I was like, you know what, that's actually pretty fucking smart. So I may do that. But yeah, obviously my mindset has definitely changed since that video has gone up. But thank you for all the views and comments and engagement on that video, guys. I really do appreciate it. But just to clarify it, if it isn't clear enough right here, this right here is a list and price point of 1/6 figures that I am going to be picking up. And in fact, I already have one being delivered to me over eBay. I found one that was amazingly priced. And I just happened to come across it as soon as I started getting into this. As always, I dive into YouTube videos, and I was watching like the top 10 1/6 figures of 2021, and I instantly saw it, and I instantly went to eBay, and I found it for a great price. Instantly hit or what did I do? Oh, it was like, or best offer. It was like buy now or best offer. Sent him an offer, and they accepted it. And the cool thing is, usually like the seller will accept your offer, and then you have to pay taxes and fees on top of it. He did it so that when he accepted my offer, it was literally only $1 over what I had offered. So that was awesome. So shout out to him. So that will be here on the table next week. But yeah, as soon as I saw that, I went to eBay and instantly got it. And like I said, I already have a list of more 1/6 scale figures to get, because I have definitely fallen into this. I can't even call it a rabbit hole. It's a fucking black hole, guys, because it just sucks me the fuck in. And I'm not mad. I'm not mad. So yeah, guys, moving on to the other figures here on the desk. We have two Sideshow older pieces right here. We have Plo Koon and Kit Fisto. Now, these three with Kenobi I bought together in a deal for $520. However, after getting these guys and opening them up and trying to pose them up, I messaged the seller again, which was the same guy that sold me the Boba Fett and the Mando. And I was like, you know what, man? These figures just weren't what I was expecting. Would you mind taking them back? Like, I'll put them back in the package. I just opened them up to see them and stuff. Like, they're cool. And he was like, you know what? What about $450 and you get to keep the figures? And I was just like, oh. I was like, deal, you motherfucker. Oh, man. So essentially, I got each figure for about $125. And I think originally he said he would have done $200 for him, for me, only because I had already bought Boba and Mando from him. So if you really do the math, for $450, really I only paid $250 for these guys, which means I paid $125 a piece. Not bad at all for figures that are going for this much on eBay. Here's Plo Koon right here. As you can see, he is the more expensive one. Kit Fisto isn't going for as much, but if I ever do want to resell them, I can definitely make my money back very easily on them. However, since I've seen them in my collection, I have since decided to keep them, because fuck, Jedi, Clone Troopers, and Mandos are my bread and butter when it comes to collecting Star Wars. And yeah, these guys do look fucking phenomenal. They may not have the best articulation because they are, I think, about 11 to 13 years old in terms of figures. These would have been the figures that, like 10-year-old me would have been like, fuck, I want those. I'll never have them. And here they are sitting on my fucking table. So yeah, these guys are very well detailed. It's just articulation that's a little lacking because they are older bodies, but they still look phenomenal. So moving on to the final one here on the table, and it is the Mythos Sideshow Kenobi. And I'm sure you guys are all hyped on Kenobi right now because of the series, and that's one of the reasons why I bought this, because the guy was telling me, like, you know what, you should buy it at 200 because that's the best you're gonna find it, especially with Kenobi right now. And I looked on eBay, and yeah, sure enough, that was a steal. So I went ahead and decided to pick him up, and I couldn't be happier because he is a phenomenal figure. There's only one gripe that I have with him, and that is that I wish he would have come with a Clone Trooper helmet. It didn't have to be one that he could wear, but one that would be nicely scaled to his size would be nice, just to hang on his backpack, put on it or something, or for him to hold or put on the floor of his stand. I just think that would have made it that much better. But as you can see, he does come with Anakin's saber. I have him looking at it all, thoughtfully and stuff. He does come with his lightsaber and also Qui-Gon's lightsaber, which he does have slung on to his backpack right here. I also did sling on Kit Fisto's unlighted lightsaber, because much like the older 3 3/4 inch Star Wars figures, these ones came with separate hilts and ignited hilts, whereas this one, you pull this top piece off and then you put the unignited piece on, so you only get one. So still really cool. Like I said, this Mythos Obi-Wan is just phenomenal. I'm gonna try to rotate him, but he just has so much stuff on his back and everything. Like, look right here, let me see, he has a fucking Tusken Raider rifle on his back and everything. So yeah, let me just go ahead and turn him around so you guys can see. His backpack is so full of little Easter eggs and trinkets. You have some Jawa slings right here. Like I said, you have some Tusken Raider weapons. You have his armor from the Clone Wars. You have this mini moisture evaporator. So many great stuff on this knapsack backpack right here. So such a cool figure. Definitely happy that I was able to pick him up as well. And obviously Mythos Boba and Mythos Kenobi definitely go together very well. Unfortunately, now I am searching for a decently priced Hot Toys Vader and or Darth Maul to kind of put up against Mythos Kenobi. I feel like it just needs that now, and I hate that about my mind. I hate that that's how it works. It's like you need a adversary for him, these guys can stand alone. I'm cool with that, but for some odd reason in my mind, I'm just like, this Mythos Obi-Wan needs an adversary, and Darth Maul or Vader would be perfect, obviously. So fuck my mind, right? They're both on the list, so whichever one I find for a more decent price is the one I'm going to go ahead and pick up. But yeah, guys, like I said, my mind has definitely changed on Hot Toys 6 scale toys, and in fact, the new one that I'm getting in isn't even a Hot Toy or a sideshow piece. It is a third party from So Toys. So that's kind of a hint as to what's going to be coming in. You guys know what properties I like. So do with that information as you will. But super excited to get that piece in. But that is not all for this week's toy haul. As you guys can see, I also have a gang of Mousers right here. Yes, my NECA Mouser pre-order came in. I did get the max 3 packs, or I think it was 4 packs was the max, wasn't it? And I just went in for 3. I thought that was enough. And they are going for about $100 a box now on eBay, which is outrageous because you don't get this many in one box, guys. Like I said, you get 3 packs, so you get 6 per pack, guys. So it's not too many. But if you buy a few different packs, you do get a lot. But that is not all that comes with them. You do also get a few battle damaged ones. You get this battle damaged one with the rack sticking out of it. You also get bottom half of them, which is still articulated and still moves, which is really cool because you can have it just like standing and looks like it's walking around without its head. You do also get a busted up Mouser head with a hole on the top, so that way you can put Raphael's scythe through it, which is super cool. And you do also get a regular Mouser, but the head's all busted up. And this one also does have a hole for Raphael's sai. So you do also get like a piece of the Mouser. I believe this is like their leg. I think this is like the piece that connects to their inner body and then it sticks out to form their leg. I don't know, but you get that little piece. But you also get a few rats if you have the Rat King. So you get some rats that are sitting, so that way you can put them on his shoulder. you do get this one that has a tail that wraps around, so that way it stays on the Rat King. And then you do get two separate little rats that are standing up, one looking all mischievous right here and one just looking up. But that is not all, guys. These packs did come jam-packed with a lot of great stuff, and I will definitely go into more detail in the review coming this week, guys. They each did come with a slice of pizza as well, and I believe this is a tracker of some sort or something. There's this tiny little accessory right here. They did also come with some cheese for those rats. And last but not least, they each came with a VHS accessory, which is really fucking cool when you look at it. It looks like a VHS, like even the back, like they got those winders, like really well done. So super cool, and I have 3 of those since I got 3 packs. So super happy about that. Now it's just time for me to bust out my NECA cartoon turtles and do some cool toy photography with these guys. I have some ideas. I'm super excited to do them with. But until then, guys, that wraps up this week's toy haul. And man, was this a pricey toy haul, guys. So much so that I've come to the realization that I'm not going to be able to collect everything that I'm collecting currently, as well as get into 1/6 scale. So I have made the decision to cut back on certain aspects of my collection, as well as sell off portions of my collection. Yes, it is that time for this collector, guys. Now, I am not going to be getting rid of everything that is 6-inch scale, but I am going to be thinning out my collection in order to help fund some more Hot Toys, because these motherfuckers are like crack, guys. It's true what they say, you know. Once you buy one, it's over. It's over for your wallet. It's over for your collection, because as much as I didn't want to pick them up because I don't have like 6 scale dioramas to do toy photography with them, they just look so fucking badass on display. It's just another world, guys. It's just another dimension, another galaxy, you know, hence the black hole reference. But yeah, this is a whole new beast, and obviously an expensive beast. So I will be selling off portions of my collection to help fund these guys. But also, before I forget, these guys will not be here next week. Well, I think these 2 will be, but these top 2 will not. In their place will be some of these Hot Toys. Mando actually fits right here. Boba actually fits right back here. But Plo Koon and Kit Fisto and Obi-Wan will all be right here next week. They would have been there, but you know, it's this week's toy haul, so they were here on the table. So I went ahead and put the statues back just so it wasn't empty and whatnot. But yeah, just be aware next week those statues are gone. Well, they're not gone. They're just going to be behind the camera, essentially. Well, at least one of them will be. The other one's going to be in another corner of this room. And I'll have to do another room tour or room rearranging to, you know, find proper spaces and stuff. Talking about that, guys, I know I said I was going to have that room tour ready for you guys this week. However, it just got super busy for me and super chaotic. So next week it will be ready. By the time this video goes up, I will have already done the voiceover for that video, which is the last thing I need to do for that video to be finished and ready to upload. I think the only thing I'd have to do really before I do that voiceover is edit this one part out where I'm talking about giving you guys a preview of my new 1/6 scale toys before this week's podcast, because obviously it's going to be coming out after this week's podcast, so it's not really a sneak peek of anything, really. You guys have seen it all. So yeah, that will be next week, guys. Or maybe, you know what, I think I'm going to be saving that actually for 2 to 3 weeks from now, because like I said, I am going to be drastically cutting back on collecting regular figures in terms of mass produced figures like Hasbro, McFarlane, all those kinds of figures, and save up for more Mezco figures, more Hot Toys, more 1/6 scale, more third party 1/6 scale figures to add to my collection, because like I said, I have a list and I definitely want to complete this list. And it's not too bad of a list, I have to admit. It's a bit of a long list, but I feel like once I have this list completed, that'll be essentially what I want in my 1/6 scale collection. Obviously, we all know that's a lie, and once we complete this list, I will have a whole nother list waiting for me to complete, but we will cross that bridge when we cross that bridge. So, like I said, I will be getting rid of some of my collection, mainly, let me see, my Funkos. I will be selling off all my Funko Pops. I do have 4 Cobra Troopers that I will be selling. I will be selling all my Power Ranger figures except my Power Rangers and Ninja Turtle figures. And I will also be selling off a lot of McFarlane Batman figures that I have, or DC Multiverse figures in general. So, if you're looking for anything from any of those lines, stay tuned. I will be putting them up within the next month or so because, man, so many fucking great figures to get. So many great fucking figures to get. I mean, look at this. The Whistling Birds. The fucking attention to detail. The soft goods. The wired. Oh, fuck, these things are fucking beautiful, guys. I fucking fell hard, guys. I thought I fell hard for Mezco, but this. Alright, guys, we gotta move on. I can stare at these figures all day. So, anyways, guys, that has been this week's toy haul. As you can see, I am super excited, and I've been really wanting to show you guys what I've been getting, but I've been kind of teasing you guys all week leading up to me revealing them here on episode 39 of Coffee and Toys. So, yeah, guys, let's go ahead and talk about this week's toy news. So, not too much, guys, to be honest. It's actually like maybe a quarter of the page. So yeah, guys, not too much, but like I said, let's go ahead and talk this week's toy news, starting off with some McFarlane news. So Warner Brothers did release the trailer for the Black Adam movie this week, and alongside with that, McFarlane went ahead and showed off their Black Adam figure. I personally have my own thing against The Rock, so I do not support anything that he does in any industry or aspect, because I am a bodybuilder, and 4 years ago he went on the Olympia stage to make a grand speech after handing the Mr. Olympia award to the Mr. Olympia about how much he loves bodybuilding, about how much he wants to invest in bodybuilding and make it mainstream. I'm going to invest a bunch of money. I'm going to bring the Olympia to CBS next year. I'm going to give you guys a bunch of backstage coverage on my YouTube. I'm going to increase the prize money. I'm going to, put on my own show that's going to rival the Olympia in prize money. And what has he done? Absolutely fucking nothing. He's even canceled his bodybuilding show every year since 2020, despite other bodybuilding shows going on every year since 2020. So, yeah, since that, I can't support him for that. In the long run, he ended up hurting the bodybuilding community, getting a lot of people's hopes up, and making it seem like bodybuilding was finally going to make it into the mainstream. So, that's just my own personal thing against him. I'm not saying that you can't like him. I'm not saying you can't enjoy him. Go watch Black Adam, whatever you guys want to do. I just will not be watching Black Adam in any shape or form or capacity. And that goes for buying the figures as well. Moving on to G.I. Joe, guys. So they did have a G.I. Joe live, and so they showed off some future figures coming down in the pipeline, starting off with Falcon. And I'll be honest with you guys, I have absolutely no idea who any of these guys are, except for maybe 2. And the next one being Barbecue, and that being one of the 2 that I actually know of because he's already been released prior. This is a Slaughter Marauders color variant of Barbecue. opposed to the other version that's already been released of him. The next figure is another one that I kind of know because it's just a variant on the Bat figure. So the Crimson Bat is going to be coming soon to the classified line. Also, Classic Outback will be finally joining the classified line. And the funny thing about this is that he's coming out, or he was announced to be coming out prior to the previous Outbacks pre-orders being fulfilled. He's still not available. So the funny thing that's happening is a lot of people are canceling that pre-order, which they didn't really want. They were just happy to get an Outback in the line, but they were kind of complaining about him being Tiger Force and everything. And so now that they've announced a normal, regular Outback, they have since decided to cancel a lot of orders. And Target is getting a taste of their own medicine now, because usually it's Target canceling all of our orders. So now all the collectors are canceling their orders. So karma, guys, full circle. So anyways, the last figure coming down in the pipeline is CoverGirl. I have absolutely no idea who she is. I know who Lady Jane is. I know who Scarlet is. I know who Baroness is. But I don't know who CoverGirl is. So maybe she's, she gives cover when they're in trouble. They'll be like, CoverGirl, we need cover. That's just me using context clues, guys. But anyways, guys, they did also announce that alongside San Diego Comic-Con, I don't know if this is an exclusive or it's releasing alongside San Diego Comic-Con, but a Sergeant Slaughter. I know a lot of you guys have been anticipating and waiting for him to join the line. So I really hope for you guys that it's not a Comic-Con exclusive. The last thing that they did announce and show off, and is now up for pre-order on Amazon, the new Snake Eyes and Timber 2-pack. This does come with a variant Timber in white and also a variant Snake Eyes. He's a little more stealth ops and a little less basic Snake Eyes. And that essentially wraps it up for this week's toy news, guys. I think Diamond Select had some news. I'm having some issues with my toy emails, so I haven't really been getting emails to it lately. So I need to fix that and get that all sorted out, so that way I can get Diamond Select's emails, which I'm sure I've been getting and I just have not been able to receive. But yeah, guys, like I said, a very small amount of toy news this week, which I myself am personally very happy about because, like I said, I am starting to pull out of these normal mass-produced lines. I am totally fine paying a premium price for a premium figure with premium accessories, but I am not okay with paying a premium price for a non-premium product with non-premium accessories or even accessories at all. And that's my biggest gripe with the Star Wars Black Series line recently is that, their prices are going up, yet we don't get alternate heads, hands, robes with our Jedi, or even all the accessories that we should and could be getting with some of the figures that they give us, unless they're like exclusives like the Amazon Artillery Trooper, or the Throne Room Boba Fett, which they end up just making a deluxe when they really shouldn't be making it a deluxe. It's just a figure with the right amount of accessories. But Hasbro's going to Hasbro, and the rest of the companies are going to do the same and follow because they're all raising their prices and they're all keeping their figures the same. And so that's why I definitely am falling hard into the Hot Toys and Mezco realm. And I am going to be extra picky and choosy when it comes to the mass-produced figures. When it comes to McFarlane, I'm really only going to probably pick up the Mega figures going forward. I'm probably done picking up regular Batman figures and Superman and anything like that. In terms of the Black Series, I've passed on every Kenobi Black Series that they've announced. It's just, why do I need another Vader? I don't need Kenobi from this Kenobi verse. He's not my favorite version. My favorite version is the one they've already released previously in the Clone Wars. And so I don't need any of those. And so I'm just like, yeah, slowly backing out of those, saving my money so that way I can get more of this. NECA, I'm out of the cartoon line, so there's no need for me to be doing anything like that. I am out of the Halo line because I do have my 1000 Toys Halo Master Chiefs right there, so I really don't need cheaper versions of those. So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that I'm starting to back out of that I can now put my money towards bigger, better figures. Like I said, I will be thinning out my collection to make room and also cash for these bigger and better figures, but I will also still be keeping a lot of the 6-inch figures that I have because, I do a lot of toy photography, and that's where I have my dioramas. In terms of scale wise, is 6-inch. So I need to keep those. I will try to do some toy photography with these guys. I know it's a little more difficult. I need to get in touch with Trevor, 1/6 shooter. It's in his name, obviously, to get some tips and tricks and some help as to how I can best shoot these guys. I think I'm going to invite him back onto the podcast so we can have a discussion all about that. But yeah, guys, with that being said, I guess that wraps it up for episode 39 of Coffee and Toys. Next week is episode 40, guys. Can you fucking believe it? Episode 40 of Coffee and Toys. 900 subscribers on the CoolFigurez channel. Over 1,000 followers on the CoolFigurez Instagram. I couldn't thank you guys enough. And I have officially decided to do a giveaway at episode 50 of Coffee and Toys. So in 10 weeks, guys, I know it sounds like a while, but trust me, it will show up very, very soon. So I'm going to start thinking about what exactly I'm going to do for the giveaway. Maybe I'll do 2 budget figures or 1 decent figure. Don't really know quite yet, but when I do, I will definitely let you guys know. But yeah, guys, with that being said, that has been this week's episode of Coffee and Toys. Stay tuned for Coffee and Toys Live coming up after this portion of this week's episode. But as always, if you haven't already, please subscribe to me here on YouTube at CoolFigurez. Follow me over on Instagram at CoolFigurez for all my review pics. And also check out my more dedicated toy photography page, Epic Shots by CoolFigurez. That's where I post my more thought out, plan out, more edited pics. And if you guys like unboxings, I do post all my unboxings on TikTok at CoolFigurez. I am going to just probably finish off what I have in my drafts and kind of leave that app. It's just a little too much work handling a bunch of apps and accounts because I handle 2 toy accounts and then also my bodybuilding, training, fitness page. So it's a lot to handle, and I think I'd rather just focus on Instagram at the moment. As big as TikTok is, my TikToks just don't get the views that other toy TikTokers do, so that's okay. It's just not for me. I understand that. But with that being said, guys, stay tuned for this week's Coffee and Toys Live with the amazing, phenomenal UK toy photographer, Chris, aka Parts May Vary, starting right now. All right, guys, welcome back to the CoolFigurez page. I'm your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector, and welcome to episode 18 of Coffee and Toys Live, where I will speak to a new guest every week about toy collecting, toys, toy photography, and so much more. This week, guys, I would like to welcome a phenomenal toy photographer from the UK, Chris, aka Parts May Vary.
Hi.
How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. How's your week been? Busy or what?
It's been fairly busy. I'm directing a show for a musical which is on next week, so it's been really kind of full on with a lot of like backstage prep for that as well. So had no time to do any kind of toy stuff at all. But that's busy.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show and giving me at least some of your time today, because that sounds like
No,
you've been
not at all.
extremely busy, man. So I appreciate it. So why don't we go ahead and jump right on into everything, man? What exactly got you into collecting?
It's probably a similar thing to a lot of adult collectors, in as much as I'm one of these guys that just never grew up. Like so like I just never had that thing where I grew out of toys in general. It's just I whatever I was into at the time, I started collecting figures of. But I think when I got really kind of fairly seriously into it was when I went to university, because that was around the time that I started reading a lot of comics.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly like DC comics, like Green Arrow, Batman, Teen Titans, all that kind of stuff. And then from there, I went out and I started buying up a lot of the toys, a lot of superheroes, a lot of Justice League kind of stuff. And that kind of, I think, probably reignited my passion for action figures and toys in general. And also, like at that time, McFarlane had just come out with the movie Maniacs line, so you were finally getting some really cool looking aliens and predators and stuff that stuff that was probably geared more towards adult collectors than just sort of kids' toys.
Nice, nice. So, were you collecting the same kind of franchises and brands as a kid that you see yourself collecting now?
I suppose probably because things like um, because I'm probably not like a super I probably don't collect like full lines of things. I kind of just buy things that I think I will photograph, or things that kind of look cool. But saying that, the stuff that I have kind of bought almost, to completion or near completion are things like Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles and all that kind of stuff. So probably is the same kind of stuff that I was super into as a kid, and that's probably a big reason as to why I was like, oh, I need to pick that up. That just speaks to the little child still inside me.
No, I definitely understand that, man. That's exactly how I felt when I got back into collecting myself. I was a big Star Wars fan when I was younger. I still am now.
Mm.
But, I had a bunch of the 3 3/4 inch figures back then. And thankfully, my parents allowed me to store them in the garage. So they're still there. But, as I saw these new Black Series figures, I was like, wow, these are exactly what I wanted back when I was younger.
Yeah.
Just not at the $300-400 price point, which they were going for back in the day, these 6 inch
Yeah.
figures. And so that's definitely what drew me back. And yeah, definitely the NECA turtle lines. I have a phenomenal love for turtles. So yeah, that definitely drew me back in. And I've dabbled a bit in the Power Rangers line as well. So I feel you on all those, man. So would you say those lines that you collect fully are your favorite lines to collect? Or do you still have other lines that, even though you don't collect them fully, you still enjoy them more than those other lines?
um, yeah, that's a good point. I think like I probably yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think like the nostalgic aspect is a big sort of reason for that. It's like if I'm gonna spend the money to buy each toy, or each part of the set, that's got to come from a place for that's a bit deeper than, oh, this would make a cool photograph. Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
really bad at like picking up a figure because I'm like, oh, I've got a cool idea for one shot, taking that shot, and then it never sees the light of day. It just sits in a cupboard. So if I want to invest in the whole thing, it's got to be like this is a display piece. This is something I'm going to put up on the shelf. And for the likes of the Ninja Turtles, I have sort of three generations of Turtles figures that are kind of displayed.
That's nice.
Um, and I've got same with some Ghostbusters ones. I've got like the real Ghostbusters old figures, and then I've got some of the Matty collectible ones, and then I've got the plasma series ones. So it's like, it's nice having the sort of the different iterations of them. I think probably the other line of stuff that I don't really collect it to completion, but I probably any kind of MCU Marvel Legends, like that's another one that I've started to amass a bit of a collection over time. But that's truthfully because I'm a huge MCU fan, and for the most part, I think Legends, they pose well and they photograph well.
No, yeah, they definitely do. That's actually one of the few lines that I have not collected only because it's so massive. And I'm just
Oh,
like,
it's huge.
exactly. So it's like, I just can't dive into it. I started late. They've already released all the figures that I need to complete, my Spider-Man row gallery. So I'm just like, you know what? I'll admire it from afar. They're great figures. Like you said, they look great on camera. You've obviously made a few of them look phenomenal in your toy photography. So you're making them look
Thank
even
you.
better. So
Right.
for people that don't know, you're in the UK, I'm in the West Coast of the United States. So aside from the major time difference, is there any difference in collecting in the UK versus here in the US that you can
I think
think
the
of or
biggest
know of?
difference. Yeah. I think the biggest difference is probably because I know that in the US you guys have like I think in Walmart stores you've got loads and loads of action figures, including brands like NECA
Uh,
and
the
um,
the price
no.
tags are there. The price tags are there. The product, not so much.
Oh, really? Is
Yeah.
that just from folk just buying them up and trying to scalp them, or?
That and just distribution hasn't been the best. It's starting to get a little better, but just in the past few years, distribution has been horrible. Within the last
Oh,
6 months, I'd
wow.
say it's getting a little better. But yeah, there was a time where you would go to like 20 different stores, like in Targets and Walmarts, and you'd maybe find one thing if you were lucky that day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's getting
Okay.
better now, but yeah, I mean, still you go, especially like the Black Series area, it's empty except a
Hmm.
bunch of Lando Calrissians. You go to NECA, it's empty besides a few Toonie Terrors, and a
Hmm.
few aliens and maybe a few horror figures here and there. But yeah, for the majority of the figures that you're actually looking for, it's very hard to come by.
Right. Okay. Well, certainly we don't in the UK any kind of I want to call it like a supermarket. We don't have any toys remotely like that. We don't even have the tickets for them. You've got to go to like a specialist toy or game shop for that, or a lot of it's online. That's probably the biggest difference is that unless you are going out of your way to like a comic book or a quote unquote geek store, you're not going to find the stuff that you want to find.
That's actually pretty interesting because at least here in the States, it's gotten to the point where you can go to 7-Eleven, a corner liquor store, and buy a Funko Pop, and not just any Funko Pop. For a while, they had their own exclusive giant Mando Funko Pop. Like that's how much it's become engraved in the culture here, at least. But at the same time, we're also the same society that single-handedly destroyed Toys R Us. So
Man, I still miss
yeah.
Toys R Us.
Yeah, apparently
I
they're
still
supposed to
miss
be
it.
making a comeback, but I've yet to see anything of that. But I hear Canada still has them, so there's still a little bit of hope.
Right. You've got like we have a couple of sort of bargain shops that are that you'll maybe get something in there if they've just kind of slashed the price on online, but it's kind of hit and miss. Similar to then you
Hmm.
can go in and get a Funko Pop, but it's maybe like the same Funko Pop that's been sitting on shelves for years that like nobody wants. But the other
Yeah.
day I found a McFarlane Toys Red Hood figure from Arkham Knights for like £12, and I was like, oh wow, that's kind of decent. Like that's one I would
Yeah.
consider buying. So you just never know. It's the luck of the draw in these kind of cheaper shops.
No, yeah, I definitely get that. So, have you guys seen prices increase in your guys' toys there as well? Because we've seen massive increases here in the States. Like, I think Hasbro is literally in the last 6 months on our side. I think we've had like three price hikes on their end.
Yeah, I've no Hasbro is the one that springs to mind with us as well. Normally um, your Legends line is about £20, and that's crept up to about sort of between 23, 25 thereabouts. And some of the two packs that they've just announced, the sort of the Venom and I can't remember who he's packaged with, but that's about £70, which for Hasbro figures I think is just insane.
No, yeah, definitely. I was thinking the same thing, and it seems like our economy market isn't too far off because I think ours is around the same price, 75, $80 for that two pack. So
Yeah.
I assume you collect other lines in terms of like imports, or would it be considered an import on your end as well, like SH Figure Arts and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you
And if
collect
you
those
can,
as well?
yeah, I do. But I was just going to say, if you can get one of them, like a premium figure for kind of the same price, it's like, well, it's a no-brainer for me.
And that was going to be my next question would be like with these price increases, are you just seeing yourself saying, you know what, I'd rather just hold off on buying every single figure that comes out? Or, I mean, you've already said you just pick and choose, which is great. You were already prepared for the price hikes in the economy. Um, Unlike some people that just buy every wave, you know what I mean? But do you see yourself, leaning more towards premium figures opposed to maybe picking up Marvel Legends for those newer, higher price points?
Yeah, I think it's partly down to cost, and also just partly the more of the sort of premium figures that I get, the more I kind of appreciate the quality and the articulation and the level of accessories. And it's kind of like I don't want to use the analogy of drugs, but it's like you start off on like oh, this will be like this is a kind of gateway thing. It's like a £20 figure. It's fine. It's not too bad. But I'm not going to touch any of the more expensive stuff. And then
Yeah.
suddenly you're like, I'm paying £80 for a single figure, but it's totally worth it. And so yeah, I think the fact that everything is getting more expensive and you can then get slightly cheaper things imported from Japan, I'm like, yeah, it makes more sense to me. to just hold off on buying everything and take the cost of maybe 3 figures and put it towards one that I really want.
Exactly. I recently fell, well, I guess I could say fell, more like pulled into the Hot Toys black hole. I recently picked up my first one and then quickly accumulated two more within that same week. And I'm in discussions with somebody to pick up another one for some killer prices. And so I definitely understand that. And I'm just looking at my collection, like I can definitely like go, 5 or 6 figures from these, smaller waves and lines and put it towards these other better figures, like you said, so
Yeah.
I totally understand that. I'm also very heavily into Mezco now too, which I see way more in terms of like price point. I don't know if it'd be the same with you guys, because as it is, we get hit with a big shipping fee here in the States. I can only imagine what shipping to you guys would be like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've only got one Mezco just now, but it was from they tend to be, or as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong, but they tend to be, they're not in every sort of comic book or toy shop. They're maybe sort of higher end ones, or ones that deal with more sort of premium stuff. But I actually just bought another Mezco that I'm waiting to arrive off of a toy page on Facebook, because I was eyeing it up. I was eyeing it up on a brand new, and it was slightly more expensive, and I was like, I just hadn't taken the plunge, and some guy was selling it for like £20 cheaper, and he put it up, and within 2 minutes I was like, I'll have this, thanks. Because again, it's the quality, it's also the textured costumes. I really like that as well. So, but I've yet to take the plunge into Hot Toys, and touch wood, that's one that I'll stay away from, because they look so good, but so expensive.
No, yeah, definitely, man. And that's what definitely, makes me lean towards Mezco also more, is that texture and quality, especially me, myself being a toy photographer, much like you. And especially with you, your photos are come out so crisp and clear and so much detail in those figures
Thank
and
you.
stuff that I'm sure that if you start using Mezco, it's going to look phenomenal, and it's going to actually look even more lifelike than you already make your photos look. So be careful, because it's going to be a easy hole to slip into once you start seeing how great they look on camera, man, because that's what happened to me. I was like, why do I need these plastic figures when I have these soft good ones now? So yeah, definitely be careful, but they do look amazing. Which one are you waiting on?
The Spider-Man upgrade suit from Far From Home.
All right. That sounds like
I just want the wrinkle. I just want to get wrinkles in the suit. It's you're posing them around in the SH Figuarts ones, and they're great. They're really good. And I've got a Mafex Homecoming Spidey that, again, articulation wise is fab. But I just want to get the little creases in the suit and just have it feeling looking a bit more alive.
No, definitely. I totally understand that. That's why I love shooting with my Mezco Batmans, preferably than over like McFarlane ones, because you get those wrinkles, you get those real life details and stuff. So yeah, definitely a fun toy company brand to shoot. And if you really want to dive deep, I would highly recommend checking out the Rumble Society. Going back is going to be expensive, but going forward, you're better off going forward at this point. But they have a lot of unique, great characters that you can just throw in and fit in with so many different things, So be careful, but definitely look into Rumble Society if you want.
Are they like the sort of their Mezco goons, like the bad guys and stuff? Yeah.
Yes and no. So it's essentially like their own brand. So they have like their own main character, which is how they have the Mezco Roach head as like their logo. So essentially they brought that into figure form, and he's called Gomez. And so he's their main guy, and then everybody else you can kind of like tell your own story with. And that's what's so great about the Rumble Society line, is that they give you guidelines to who and what they are, but in reality it's up to you to put them into scenarios, put them into storylines, and do what you want with them. You know what I mean?
Ah, cool.
So definitely check them out. Be careful.
Yeah, I kind of like that just in toy photography in general, in that you get to just tell your own story and take characters from different IPs and just decide, you're like, I don't care that these two would never meet. Or in one photograph, it was a Power Rangers shot I did, and I never ever liked Kimberly and Tommy together. For me, it was always Kimberly and Jason. So I did this shot of them chilling out on the sofa, having like a sort of couples night, and folk were commenting just like, "Oh, Tommy better watch out! Like, don't tell Tommy." But in my head, I was like, "No, this is the pairing that it always should have been."
It's funny you say that because even growing up, I thought the same thing. I always thought it was better off with Kimberly and Jason than it was with Tommy, but that's just the way the show went,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But yeah, I've noticed you do a lot of crossover photography. I think one that really sticks in my mind that I really enjoyed was your one with Marty and Mikey from TMNT.
Oh yeah.
That was a good one. I really enjoyed
Yeah,
that one.
yeah. That was. I think that I'd not long got the naked street diorama. I got it for my birthday one year, and that was my first sort. I think it was my first shot using that diorama and using sort of getting an actual street looking environment. Yeah, I really enjoyed that shot. Although I was so disappointed, or not so disappointed, but I was disappointed by that Marty McFly figure. I find the head without the sunglasses, just the features, just not quite right.
Yeah, that's the one thing I will say about that line. As much as I love it, their Michael J. Fox head sculpt's a little off on just on all the figures. But however, their Doc Browns, their Biff, their Griff, they're all like spot on, like almost
Yeah,
halfway quality. And like when you look at
yeah,
those sculpts, like it's like spot on. But then you look at Michael J. Fox, but I think he suffers from that same syndrome that Mark Hamill does, where he's just impossible to get their likeness down correctly because
yeah,
depending on how the light's hitting their face, it just kind of changes small little features and details, and it's just so hard to get them right.
yeah. I would agree.
Too bad they're the main characters, right?
I know.
So we've talked a little about the price and everything. How is I guess you kind of talked about distribution and accessibility. You know, you can't just go to a normal store in the UK. You have to go to a specialty shop. And do you see them basically pricing them at retail, or since they're specialty shops, do they tend to have a little more liberties in how they price their figures?
Um, it's funny because some shops I saw or I was aware of there being a bit of a price increase in some shops. Particularly, there's a brand or not a brand, a chain of shops in the UK called Forbidden Planet, and they're like probably the biggest retailer of um, collectibles and action figures and all that kind of stuff. And their prices are always kind of fairly high. Like, and I would usually go in there just to see what they had kicking around and maybe see what was released, but knowing that I could probably get it cheaper elsewhere. But actually, more and more places are now starting to align with what their prices were or what their prices are. And even online retailers, like there's a lot of independent online retailers that I buy through, and their prices are kind of creeping up. So before I would have said yeah that some shops were just like pricing the stuff sky high, but it's all kind of falling into line with each other. I don't think there's not really that sort of competitive edge anymore of going to like one little independent place or something.
Yeah, and I think that has to do with, just prices, rising and increasing, across the board. That's happening here as well. We see independent shops raising their prices. We see, big box retailers raising their prices as well. And it just seems like we're not really getting any more for our money either. I don't know if you've noticed that, especially if you collect the Star Wars Black Series line, those prices have been going up significantly. And it's not like we've ever gotten any alternate hands, head sculpts, or really accessories. They basically become with like bare bones accessories. Like sometimes they're missing accessories. A lot of the Jedis that you buy in the Black Series line don't even come with soft good robes or even a robe in general. So it's kind of just like, I don't see the value in them anymore at that point. And like we were saying earlier, it seems like the imports where you're getting, you're paying a little bit more, but you're getting a little bit more as well. Like you said, the prices are starting to increase and stuff. And, for $80 versus, almost 25, 30, for a figure that's lacking a lot of accessories and stuff, I think, like you said, it's better just to go with that higher premium figure.
Yeah, one of my sort of more recent premium figures is the Hush Batman from Mafex or Mafex or however you pronounce it. And considering it has, the wired soft good cape, it's got multiple heads. It's got unmasked Bruce Wayne. He's got a grimacing face. He's got a normal face. You've got the different lengths of the grapple, but they're metal, so they're not going to, they hold that rigid shape. And then the amount of different hands that he has for any possible situation, and some of them that are even sort of clutching batarangs in between his fingers.
Wow.
It's everything everything you would want from a figure to allow you to express the story you want to tell. Whereas in a McFarlane, I really like McFarlane toys in general, but sometimes you have to, and every time you have to buy two separate figures to get an unmasked head because they release them as different figures, and that just to me is nuts.
Not just that, but also alternate hands. A lot of them come with very just unusable alternate hands. I feel like I don't know about you, but I feel like every superhero figure should just come basically with at least a pair of fisted hands, at least one pair. I mean, they do,
Yeah.
fight, and then if they need a secret pan, throw it in there if they need it. But some of them come with secret pans, and it's like, well, you can't really show them fighting. They're just going to be in a slap battle with each other.
Yeah, yeah. And similarly with Spider-Man figures from Hasbro, you would think the natural thing would be for them to all have wall crawling hands, but you get a fist and a thwip, and that's kind of it, if you're lucky.
Exactly. It's funny because I actually have my old 2000, was it 2 or 2000, the original Spider-Man Tobey Maguire figure still. And back then, what they used to do was they used to articulate the middle finger so you could have it open palm or you could have it closed, And this was what, 22 years ago, and nowadays they can't even do that.
I literally got it sitting right here with a little finger like that.
Yep, exactly.
Great.
That was 22 years ago.
Yeah. Jeez, 22 years ago, God.
Tell me about it, man. But, we can't even get stuff like that, and they're choosing to charge more. It's like, okay, I think those premium products are really starting to look better and better each time.
Yeah.
So, what got you into toy photography, man?
It was during when the pandemic sort of first hit and the UK went into lockdown. I think you guys had it as well, where companies were furloughing staff, so you just like sit at home and get paid to do nothing essentially. So which was in some ways it was kind of great because it was like, well, I'm getting paid and I don't need to worry about that. But obviously I was bored. I was kind of looking for hobbies. I was trying to keep myself busy, and I'm guessing I had seen some toy photography accounts or images on Instagram, and it was there in the back of my mind. But it was when I was scrolling through one night and I saw a picture by the account Nose Rain.
Oh, okay.
And it was his shot of the Ninja Turtles and Shredder, and they were battling RC cars, and it just looked so realistic and so cool, and it stopped me dead in my tracks, and I was really foolishly thought, oh, I could do this. Like, this looks awesome. I've got toys. I'm a video guy by trade, so I was like, I've got a camera, I've got lights, I've got all this stuff kicking in the house. This is what I'm going to try my hand at. And of course, very quickly realized that I could not do it, and I was dreadful, and it was nowhere near as easy as it looked. But then that kind of inspired the challenge to be like, okay, I want to get good at this. I want to push myself and try and learn something new. And I'd always shied away from photography, even doing the video stuff, because it just intimidated me, and so I thought, well, this is a perfect chance to try and learn a new skill. So that was what got me into it, really.
Oh, nice. But yeah, definitely, like, it's not as easy as it looks. You see that, and it just definitely inspires you and stuff. Because I started the same way. I had gone back into collecting a little before the pandemic had started and everything, but definitely when it hit and you were at home, I was definitely looking for an outlet like you, and definitely, started gravitating towards that, realizing it's not as easy. You have to put the time, the effort, the dedication, just as much as any hobby, trade, or anything you want to be good at. And, slowly you see improvement over time. But that's incredible that you just started at the pandemic, because your photography is phenomenal. It looks like you've been doing it for over 2 years, man. It's phenomenal to think you've only been at it for 2 years, because it looks like you've been at this for way longer. So you said you do video for trade, but not photography. So did you find that a lot of those trade or skills from videoing kind of translated over to photography, or did you have to learn a lot of new stuff for photography specifically?
I think obviously there's things like composition and stuff. obviously I had a bit of an eye for that because I've been doing video stuff for about 10 years. And I knew a bit about lighting, but lighting was probably my weakest part of any kind of video shoot. Like I was very much just, let's just throw up some lights until it kind of looks good. But I hadn't really spent much time learning how to shape light or that kind of stuff. So I ended up watching a lot of videos about lighting when I got into toy photography, which then helped with the video stuff. So it's kind of, it's helped both ways. But also as well, because you're photographing miniature stuff, it's totally different to taking pictures of anything that's full scale. So it forced me to then learn more about lenses and aperture settings and focal length and all that kind of stuff that I hadn't really needed to think about. It's like, I'll use a 50mm lens and hopefully get a nice bit of background blur in the distance. But now I was learning, okay, well, actually, if I want this specific look, or if I want that out of focus background, I need a super wide aperture and blah blah blah. Like it forced me to really learn about that, and then, as I said, that has then informed a lot of the video stuff that I've gone on to do. So now that video stuff looks even better, which is great.
That's great, man. That's great that not only did this hobby give you something to do during, the lockdown and everything, but it also helped improve your own career, which is phenomenal,
Yeah.
And I have to say, you definitely learned about lighting, because that's one thing that I definitely catch every time I'm scrolling through Instagram and I'm scrolling fast, is the lighting in your posts. I always catch it. It makes me stop, it makes me scroll back. And I know instantly it's your photography, because you have a very distinct lighting style. And I think a lot of toy photographers have a very distinct lighting style. Jason B. Michael, Work More or Less, Nose Rain. When you're scrolling, just the way they light their images, like yourself, it's very telling who the artist is. You have that trademark with it. So you definitely learned and picked up a lot of great stuff when you learned lighting, because that's one of the things that I love about your photography is the lighting. It makes everything look so much more realistic. I think the way you light everything and whatnot.
Thank you. Thanks very much. That also a big part of it, and it's a reason that I then do it myself, is a lot of these bigger names do show their behind the scenes stuff and their behind the scenes setup and include lighting in that. And so I learned a lot from just looking at the original image and then swiping over to the behind the scenes and saying, okay, how did they get that highlight? Where's that coming from? And trying it out myself. And so as soon as I started posting stuff, I was like, I want to share my behind the scenes stuff as well, because if I learn via that way, maybe someone will look at my setup and say, oh, okay, that's how he got that. And if I can help someone out, that's great, because it's a community at the end of the day. Everybody's really supportive, and you want to sort of try and do as much as you can to help folk out or whatever.
No, that's great, man. Not everybody thinks that way. Not everybody feels the same way. There are toy photographers that like to keep their secrets close to their chest, but then there are also great toy photographers that are like you, that like to share their stuff with the community, because like you said, at the end of the day, it is a community. We're all learning, we're all growing, we're all enjoying these figures from franchises that most likely we've all loved since childhood. You know what I mean? So in the end, we should all be able to celebrate and enjoy these things in the best way possible, and that also means sharing ideas and whatnot. So that's great. You don't just keep your stuff to yourself. So thank you for that. We really do appreciate that. And like I said, your lighting is phenomenal in those photos. So do you have specific lines that you like or prefer to shoot?
It's probably not specific lines that I prefer to shoot, but probably more. There's probably more sort of favorite characters that I like to shoot. And they would probably be so if I can adapt your question a little bit, that would probably be Batman and Spider-Man would be two of my ultimate favorite characters to shoot, because the sort of range of things that you can do with them, they can be flying through the air, the cape billowing out, or web shooting out the wrist, and they can literally be on the ground on their knees checking out a crime scene, or just crouching down in an alleyway, and they always look cool whatever they're doing. So I find those two characters are probably the ones if you scroll through, they're probably the ones that crop up the most, just because they're so versatile, and there's so much sort of there's so much inspiration for them as well. Like with the comics and the movies, and you kind of can't move on the internet without seeing a picture of Spider-Man or a picture of Batman, and something just pops in your mind. You're like, oh, I want to do something that's kind of inspired by that. I think if I had to pick a line of figures that I enjoy photographing the most, it would be the NECA movie Ninja Turtles, because they just the attention to detail on them, the sculpting, the painting, everything. And actually, even I know NECA's articulation's a little bit ropey at times, but if you heat them up enough, they're pliable enough to just get some really, really nice looking shots. And they just look so good on camera. Like first time I saw them being advertised for sale, I didn't know if they were coming out in the UK or not, but I was about to sink some heavy cash to get them over. I was like, I need these in my life. Unfortunately, I was maybe 6 months to a year after I saw them announced, they were for sale in the UK, and I snapped them up like that. I had them on pre-order because I needed them.
Have you been snatching up all the latest releases on the NECA website whenever they offer them up for international?
No, I did that with April O'Neil, and then and then she kind of has become a little bit of a sort of, not a bargain bin character, but she's like always in sales now over in the UK. So I didn't do that with the Ultimate Casey O'Neill. Casey Jones, sorry, I didn't do that with him. I got him from a shop. No, I've only bought direct from NECA once, and it was April O'Neil, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be great. Like, this is gonna be far cheaper than getting it from anywhere else in the UK. And actually, it worked out kind of the same cost wise in the end. So I was like, I'll just wait.
No, yeah, it's weird how sometimes that happens. It's like, that's the thing with toys. Nobody really knows what's really going to be a high seller and a low. Well, I mean, for certain characters, but then there's certain characters that they throw out there, and it's like, well, it can go either way.
Yeah.
All right, man. So you've kind of touched upon, a little bit about, some of your favorite figures and stuff. What are some of your favorite crossovers that you've done?
I did a collab with a photographer another photographer in Scotland, but I've never met him face to face. But his Instagram name is Collector's Orbit, and he's like phenomenal, absolutely incredible photographer. And the two of us did a Batman and Shredder collaboration, which I really enjoyed doing. And it kind of, I think both those characters, it was like, the movie Shredder in particular. So both those characters really kind of lean into that sort of gritty, urban, nasty city kind of vibe. And there's a scope again to do more with those two. So that was a really fun one I did, or I enjoyed doing. I have an idea, actually. I've got an idea for a crossover one that I haven't done yet, and I'll just say it because maybe someone will hear it and go, oh, I want to do that, and it'd be cool to see. But I really want to do a sort of, I want to call it Space Invaders, and I want to have a sort of city scene, and then this sort of portal, where either like a beam coming down or just a portal. And I really want to have Lord Zed from Power Rangers, a Xenomorph, and a Stormtrooper all coming out of this portal together. That's just an image I can't shake from my head.
I think you can make that look phenomenal, man, especially with your lighting. That portal would look really real, and I'd say do it, man. I think that could be a really fun shoot to do. Sometimes you just have to do those fun ones just to, help get those creative juices flowing, keep them going,
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people tend to forget with this hobby is that, there's really no rules or guidelines. You do what you want. You put what characters you want together, and it's up to you. And the only thing that's limiting is your own imagination when it comes to this hobby, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. And like you're all playing, we're all playing with somebody else's toys ultimately. Like, none of us created these characters, so it's just like just play around, just mess around. It's all just. I don't want to say. I don't want to. I'm not using the word, the phrase meaningless, but it's not. The stakes aren't that high. Like it's fun. It's just
It's toys.
It's just a fun way of. Yeah, it's toys. It's toys. Yeah.
It's something we played with as kids that we are now, lucky enough to be able to continue playing with as adults, because let's not kid ourselves. When we're taking toy photography, we're playing with our toys. We're putting them in different poses, seeing what works best. So we're playing with them at the end of the day.
100%. Yeah.
And, that just brings us joy. I don't know about you, but it brings me joy because, like you said earlier, it kind of connects with that inner child and stuff. And it reminds you of, those simpler days, like for me, like when I'm at the gym, I don't think about anything else. It's just focusing on that. And it's kind of similar when I'm doing my toy photography, I'm so focused on the characters and what I'm trying to achieve in that image that it kind of just allows me to just not focus and think about everything else that's going on, everything else I need to do. And it allows me to escape just for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the time can just absolutely disappear when you're so focused on the shot and getting it to look just right. Yeah, and also a big part of it for me is, particularly with dioramas and accessories, and then you add in the lighting and everything. It's like when you were a kid and you saw the commercials for toys, and like He-Man wasn't just. No kid was ever playing with a He-Man toy on their bed or in the living room. They were playing with it in this sort of rocky landscape with the moon in the background and smoke and haze and everything. And as a kid, you didn't really twig that. You were like, oh, cool, I want to buy that. And then you got it and you're like, there's something missing. It's not like it is in the commercials, but this is that next step.
No, yeah, I totally get that, man. As looking back, you see like the Batman commercials, they're running around, you see the little buildings and everything. And it's like, all right, it was like the atmosphere about it. It wasn't just the toy itself. It's like the atmosphere of what you can do with that toy in that setting.
Yeah.
And I mean, they had a few playsets here and there, but they were far and few, especially considering how they marketed these toys. And definitely, this was definitely the next step, especially when I first started getting into it. I realized like, holy shit, yeah, this is what I wanted as a kid. I wanted these terrains, these dioramas that fit these characters to scale. And, now we're able to do this and stuff.
Do you make any dioramas yourself?
Unfortunately, I don't have the creative capabilities. I can't even draw stick figures, man.
No, I'm the same. I take my hat off to people that do, because what a great skill to be able to have if you're in this game. But no, I'm similar. I wish I could, but
no, yeah. Growing up, I couldn't draw and stuff. But when I played with my action figures, they always looked really cool in action scenes and stuff. And I think that's why when I started collecting again, I started seeing all these toy photography images. I was like, I can't draw, but I maybe can pose and make some cool images, and I had no experience with photography whatsoever. And I just learned along the way, angles, lenses, like you said, zoom in, zoom out, focuses, editing techniques, and all this other stuff. And, now we're here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I suppose that's one of the coolest parts about, or that, the sort of digital age is all that information is just right there. You don't need to go and take a photography class or a course or anything. It's all there, readily available. You can just, if you want to find something out, millions of videos on YouTube or whatever will help you. So
exactly, that's exactly how I learned. So you touched upon a little bit about how you can lose track of time with toy photography. Can you touch upon a little bit about your process? How do you come about coming up with your images? Is it you see the figure and you get the image in your head, or do you get the image in your head and then you see, okay, which figure will fit best? Or is it like, I was watching Spider-Man last night, I want to do Spider-Man today?
It's probably a mix of the last two. So you know how Facebook works. The more kind of stuff you react to, the more stuff you see on your timeline. And I think there had been a couple of images that had popped up of whether it was comic book images or just like people had done digital art of characters that I had liked, and then the more of them I liked, the more I kept seeing, and eventually I started screen grabbing some of them or saving them to my phone that I found like there's maybe a pose or a setup or a combination of characters that I was like, oh, that's really cool. And so I have a folder on my phone called Inspiration, and it's mainly comic book things those kind of art that really kind of it's usually like a pose that I'm like, I want to see if I can do that. I want to see if I can get that dynamicism, if that's a word, via a figure. And sometimes it'll be a direct translation. Maybe it's like a Batman image, and I'll be like, right, I'm going to do this with Batman. Other times it'll be like, oh, actually, I'm going to take these two characters and put that in that. And then the second one is, watching movies, and particularly if I'm in the cinema and you kind of see it on the big screen, and you can't take a photo of it there and then. As I'm watching it, I'm like, try and burn this frame into your memory so you can. I think the last one that I kind of did that with, and it was really simple, but it was the Batman, the Matt Reeves Batman film, and the scene of him where he went to the nightclub as Batman and he like knocked on the door and the rain was hammering down and there was that red light and it was kind of dark and you could see the doors, and I was like, God, that's something we just don't see Batman doing, just knocking on a door and chatting to folk. And so as soon as I came home from the cinema, I was like, right, I'm just going to try and recreate this with whatever Batman figure I have to hand, and so that's probably the last time that I actually saw something at the cinema. I was like, I want to just directly, I need to get that out of my system.
Yeah, definitely one of the ways that I think a lot of toy photographers are inspired. You know, you're like I said, it's tied into these franchises that we love, and so we do tend to go watch these things again and again. And it's like you know, we'll watch it, we'll see a scene, and we're like, okay, that's really cool. We'll try to recreate it. And yeah, sometimes it starts off as a perfect recreation, and then other times along the way, you added in a few different things, or maybe you switch things up a bit, and it turns out completely different.
Yeah, and that's great. Like I love the fact as well that you can see other people's work and be inspired, and you're not trying to rip them off or do a perfect copy, but there's just something in it that goes, oh, that's just resonated, or there's a little spark of something else in there. I had a guy that I again never met, but know him from Instagram, messaged me and he was like, look, I've got this Batman shot that I want to post, but it's actually really similar to yours. Would you mind if I posted it? I'll give you credit. And I was like, man, it's Batman. Like, nothing I'm doing with him hasn't been done before. So no need to give me credit. Like, crack on.
No, yeah, definitely. You know, I get that. You know, there's times where you see photos that look very similar and stuff. But yeah, exactly. You know, like you said, these aren't characters that we ourselves created. They're characters that have been created. And a lot of the times, like you said, we take inspiration from comic book panels and images on the internet that's readily available to millions of people. So it's not uncommon to see very similar photos because you and someone else saw this one comic panel or this one movie scene and wanted to recreate it.
Yeah.
So you talked about the Batman, man. How'd you enjoy it?
It's weird because I really enjoyed it at the time, and then it's that typical thing of the internet. You go and then you read articles or you see people's reviews online, and they kind of point out things. And when you step away from it, you're like, oh yeah, I suppose that didn't maybe kind of make sense, or that wasn't quite right. But my takeaway is that I still really, really enjoyed it. I really liked the fact that the two things I enjoyed most about it were the fact that he kind of wasn't amazing at being Batman yet. There was still a learning curve for him because we hadn't seen that, and also him being a detective and at crime scenes, because that was a big part of the comics that I always really liked, and just you never really saw that in the movies. You had, like in the Christian Bale ones, you had some of the sort of more techie stuff where he was working at, but he wasn't there. And the fact that Jim Gordon brought him in and into the crime scene and he's walking past the I just thought that was really cool. And Gotham itself in Matt Reeves' film, stunning. Like, talk about inspiration right there from like a cityscape and the lighting and everything. I was like, this just looks so good. What did you think of it?
I absolutely loved it, man. You know, it's such a different take on Batman that we haven't seen. And yeah, I mean, what movie is without its faults? Let's be honest, you know. And there's definitely scenes and parts where it's like, okay, yeah, you know, this and that. You know, the ending, I'll admit, was a little bombastic feeling, especially for the way the Riddler was in the movie and stuff. And it felt like the studio kind of forced a big superhero ending towards the end when it wasn't really necessary.
Yeah,
But that's little nitpicks, in a whole 3 hour movie. Like you said, those detective scenes where Batman actually is doing more detective work than the actual detectives is phenomenal. I mean, it's brilliant, showing how, yeah, he's there and he's not supposed to be, but you're lucky he is because he would have missed this otherwise. You know what I mean? And those
yeah,
POV
totally.
shots that we get are just phenomenal. I loved when he was walking through that hallway and they showed that POV shot of just all the detectives looking, and it showed that, oh, you were Batman in that scene. Like, it's just such a unique perspective that we've never seen. And it's like we were literally in his boots, like they were turning and looking at us as if we were Batman. We got that scene with him as Bruce Wayne, and then also the Riddler. It was very, it took those keys from like horror movies, which was amazing. It was just a very great Batman movie, in my opinion. Like you said, I love that he's still a learning Batman. Like in that club scene that you mentioned, he gets hit a few times. He doesn't fight them
Mhm.
perfectly off. He gets hit a few times, and I love that. I love this. My favorite scene has to be when he jumps from the building and he deploys the parachute under the bridge and he just whacks the
Yeah,
bridge. It's like, okay, he'll learn not to do that next time.
yeah, totally. I just thought it was such a nice little nod to be like, no, this guy is still learning. He's not got it all figured out yet. And another thing I loved about this version of the character was the fact that he is just absolutely exhausted. He's just so sleep deprived because he goes out all night. He records everything, then he comes home, puts it the little contact lens thing, watches it all back, writes down his notes because he's like, I'm so tired. If I don't write it down, I'll forget about it. And this is a Batman, I think, that hasn't learned to sort of prioritize and say, okay, well, maybe that's not important. Like to him, everything is just like, I need to remember everything. I need to have a record of everything. I need to be everywhere all at once. It was a sort of like a weirdly optimistic Bruce Wayne, whilst also being so absolutely melancholy and pessimistic about everything. He's like, I want to do so much good, but also I can't do so much good because I'm just so fucking exhausted.
No, yeah, definitely. I think hopefully within this franchise, I'm sure they're going to continue it. They'll show the progression of his character, from exactly what you said, this person that wants to do everything but can't prioritize. Then he's going to learn what needs to be prioritized and how he can both play Batman and Bruce Wayne to his advantages. And he'll learn eventually that both sides have their pros and cons, in terms of
Mm.
detective work. He can do more as Bruce Wayne sometimes because of his name, his power, his money than he can do as Batman. So I hope within this franchise we see that growth in character, and I'm sure we will because we've already seen the beginnings of it in this movie. Like you said, he's
Yeah,
not the perfect Batman. He's still learning, and I think it's only going to get better from here.
yeah. And Colin Farrell as the Penguin was absolutely phenomenal.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, one of the best parts of the movie right there.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have a quick.
I thought it would take. No, I
No,
was
go
just going
ahead.
to say I thought it would take some beating for Danny DeVito as like movie Penguin in my head for so long, and then just seeing him and his voice. It just was. I was like, this. I cannot believe this is Colin Farrell. But it was. Sometimes I feel when you watch, like if you watch, for example, Darkest Hour, it's Gary Oldman the whole time in the prosthetics, and the whole time you're like, this is Gary Oldman acting through prosthetics and a fat suit and putting on a different voice. Whereas it never for 1 second was I like, that's Colin Farrell playing a part. I was like, yeah, I believe him.
No, yeah, definitely. It really does not look like him at all. The work that they did with the makeup and his, acting and everything and the voice just phenomenal. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with this character in the future. Much like with
Yeah,
Batman, we've barely seen the beginnings of this character rise to power. Essentially, as Batman rises to, his prime, Penguin's going to be right alongside him, rising to his power and crime. So I'm super
that's
excited
true.
to see
Yeah,
what they can do with this franchise.
yeah, me too.
So we have a quick question from one of the people watching. He says, when it comes to posing and articulation, what is your favorite figure line?
It would probably be SH Figuarts, just because they're so. Uh, is that the right kind of answer, or does it mean like actual line as in line of figures? Like,
No, I think that covers it, man. Like whatever you
yeah,
find the best to pose and articulate and work with.
yeah. SH Figuarts for me. Probably just cinches it over Mafex or Mafex, and that's just my personal preference. But I just kind of figure like with those ones, it's rare that I'm unable to get someone into a pose that I'm aiming for or that I'm trying to replicate, because they're just so versatile. And also, I don't feel like I'm going to push them too far. I don't feel like I'm going to break them. Sometimes maybe like an arm will pop off or the torso will pop off, but they're on ball joints and they can just sort of snap back on for the most part. I'm sure there are instances where they have broken, and I know that Mafex have had some quality control issues where people have snapped the legs off or whatever, and so that I would always be a little bit more tentative about posing those ones. But for example, the original Suicide Squad Harley Quinn of her in the hot pants and the jacket and everything, that figure, like, there's not much you can't, not many poses you can get her into, and she looks great on camera as well. It was such a good likeness for Margot Robbie, and the sort of the sculpt and the painting on that figure, the folds and rips on the t-shirt, like every time I photograph it and I get it in to pull it up to edit, I really don't need to do much to it, and I'm like, yep, that could be her. Like,
So you say Figuarez was the best in terms of
yeah,
articulation.
yeah. That would just my favorite my favorite brand of toy to photograph.
Nice. So all right, man, I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know it is kind of late over there and you said you were super busy. So I'm just going to hit you with one last question and then I'll let you go. I know you said you want to do your Space Invasion crossover pick, but do you have any other crossover ideas in the works for 2022? Or any other photography plans for 2022?
I suppose well, I've no real plans that like I definitely want to action, but I suppose sort of pipe dream things down the line. I mean, there's always that little pipe dream that you can one day turn this into your job, turn it into a business, find some way of making money from it. But I think anybody who does anything creative, that's their goal, that's their aspiration, because you want to try and work, make a living from what you love doing. But sort of probably more achievable and short term, I've been thinking about maybe getting into maybe starting doing some sort of YouTube stuff around toy photography, tips and tricks and lighting breakdowns and all that kind of stuff, as a way of sort of trying to share any kind of knowledge I have. But there's also a little part of me that's kind of like, who the hell am I to try and tell people? Like, I'm just still figuring all this out myself as well. So, but that's something I've kind of dabbled with, the idea of, and yet to dip my toe in the water. So who knows? Maybe this year that might be the year to do it.
I'd say go for it in terms of the YouTube, man. I mean, you have a lot of great skills that I'm sure a lot of people would love to learn from, me included. But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of a business, it's kind of hard to turn anything in the toy industry into a business. I think the most that we can do in terms of toy photography is like sell prints and stuff. That'd be really the extent of it, unless you become like a customizer or a 3D printer or something like that. But also, like, I feel like if you turn this into a career, you might find it too much, and not too much, but like you may find it less appealing and less fun because it becomes a job. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'd say start the YouTube and see how it goes from there. Because YouTube alone is a lot of work, man. Editing takes so much time and stuff, and especially if you're doing like behind the scenes toy photography, you're gonna spill out so much great information. When you rewatch it, you know you're gonna have to rewatch all that information back again,
Yeah.
and it takes I usually times 2 to 3 whatever the video is. So if it's a 5-minute video, it'll be like, okay, it's gonna take me 50 minutes to edit or 20 minutes to edit. You know what I mean? It's usually 2 to 3 times its length and stuff, in my opinion. Or 25 minutes. I don't know where I got 50. But definitely start at YouTube, man. I would highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. But at the end of the day, you're going to build a community, and you're going to see that a lot of people are out there that want to learn from you, and you will have a lot of great information. Like you said, you may not know everything, but in reality, nobody really does. And we're all learning from each other, like you said. And, the more great information we have out there, the more the community can grow.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule for, coming on the show and talking some toys. I really do appreciate it. Keep at it.
Not
You
at
do
all.
some phenomenal work. I love your photos, and so do so many other people, man. And like I said, start that YouTube, get that great information out there, build that community of yours. You already have a great following on Instagram here, and all you have to do is, let them know you got a YouTube, and I'm sure the majority of them are going to follow over. So keep doing that great work, man. I really do appreciate all the photography you do out there because it's great. I love seeing it. And once again, thank you for coming on, man. I really do appreciate it.
Not at all. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a total blast. I really appreciate it, and thanks for your kind words and support and everything. Thanks a lot.
No problem, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I'll let you go. Have a great rest of your night and have a good show, man. Hopefully everything goes as planned, nothing goes, wrong, and everything goes as scheduled, and you have phenomenal shows. I don't know if you're doing one night or multiple nights, but I hope you guys have a phenomenal run.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Take care. Have a good night as well.
All right, man.
Bye.
Take it easy. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode of Coffee and Toys. And thank you so much to my guest this week, Parts May Vary, Chris. Like I said, he's in the UK, so it is currently 10 o'clock when we started, so it's about 11 o'clock for him at night right now. That's why I didn't want to take up too much of his time. It is currently 2 p.m. in the afternoon, or 3 p.m. here in the afternoon on my time, but it is late for him. And like he said, he's busy. He's running a show and everything. So I really do appreciate him taking any and all of that time out of his busy schedule to come talk on the podcast. If you haven't already, I highly recommend you checking out his Instagram. He does some phenomenal work, guys, some phenomenal work. His lighting is incredible. His crossovers are so much fun. So definitely check out Parts May Vary, and come back next week for episode 19, guys. We are 2 episodes away from 20, which is pretty incredible. But next week I will be speaking with Nerdzoic. I was supposed to originally speak with him about 2 to 3 weeks ago, or actually more at this point. My timing is off right now. My math skills are way off. But I was supposed to speak with him about a month or 2 ago, but we've rescheduled to now, this coming week. If you don't know who Nerdzoic is, he is a YouTuber as well as a toy store owner. He owns an online toy store. So check him out, and check him out here next week on Coffee and Toys Live, episode 19. So with that being said, guys, once again, thank you so much for checking out this week's episode, whether you're watching the live, the replay, or the podcast. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you that check it out and leave comments. And with that being said, guys, I've been your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector, and as always, have a great fucking day.
Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. If you enjoyed those pics, you can find the full images over on Instagram at CoolFigurez. And I do also have a separate Instagram account for my more thought out, planned out, more edited pics called Epic Shots by CoolFigurez. Check it out. If you like what you see, leave me a follow there as well. And if you guys like unboxings, check me out over on TikTok at CoolFigurez. That's where I post all of my unboxings. And check me out every Sunday for Coffee and Toys, a weekly Toy News Toy Talk podcast where we will go over all the latest and great toy news, reveals, pre-orders, weekly toy haul, and so much more. And join me every Wednesday over on Instagram for Coffee and Toys Live, where I will speak to a new guest every week about toys, toy hunting, toy photography, and so much more. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to me talk about toys. I really do appreciate it.